Welcome back to the Milk and Cookies podcast. This is the super amazing podcast. It's absolutely nothing to do with milk and cookies. It's everything to do about the fantastic sport of American football. My name is Alex. I am joined by my great friends, Leon right there and Anthony right there. I really hope they're still there when I edit this video later, but we'll see. So we're just going to head right on into this. The first topic up to our discussion is the downfall of the Houston Texans. Excuse me. As we all know, the Houston Texans they finished the season 4-12. Awful season. Currently have the third overall pick in the draft. But wait, who has the third overall pick in the draft this year? Oh, yeah, that's right. The Miami Dolphins. Fantastic trade by the Dolphins, if I might say so myself. But it's unfortunate for the Texans because they have no first or second round pick. And as we all know, they've lost Hopkins. They've lost Watt recently last week because he just wanted to leave. And what happens now? Watson wants out. Their franchise quarterback is just gone like that. So I would say we're going to send this to Leon first. Leon, what was the downfall of the Texans? What was the first move that kind of started that snowball effect?
The downfall of the Texans was when that trade happened also. But then the next downfall was DeAndre Hopkins. Letting him walk out of your organization was a bad move. That's Deshaun Watson's go-to receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Deshaun Watson had the most passing yards again in the NFL, he still lost a big piece to the offense. It hurt the team a lot.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, you have anything to add on that, or do you agree?
Just losing your key receivers to the offense, and now going into the 2021 season, losing J.J. Watt, you look at this season and you realize they're now starting the rebuilding phase of the Houston Texans, and you give them this year, which I don't expect them to be any better than last year. Or maybe they'll get 5 wins. You never know. But they're in the rebuilding phase, and I just think the downfall of the Houston Texans was when they lost DeAndre Hopkins to go to the Cardinals. And I just think it's when you lose DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think a major point to also discuss is that DeAndre Hopkins, as though he's a great player, he's not a one-man army. It's not like they lost Watson right at the beginning of the season. They still had Watson. I'd say the biggest thing is, even losing Hopkins, like y'all said, Watson was still first in the league in passing. He was still a superstar with an awful offensive line. They couldn't block anything. The wide receiver core wasn't awful. I think it's the defense that failed. But, they're just losing out now. I think Bill O'Brien really messed up that team for the worse. J.J. Watt's gone. He got cut last week after our last episode aired. So, the biggest thing is now J.J. Watt, he's a 31-year-old and who's known to be injury prone. He's probably going to go into the season looking for $12 million a year, I would say, for a minimum one-year deal. What is the likely landing spot for J.J. Watt?
I'm going to go with that first.
Go for it.
I think J.J. Watt ends up with the Steelers. What about you, Alex?
I'd say the Steelers. There's a lot of teams that need an end, but I don't think they're going to be willing to pay $12 million for Watt, especially with the cap loss this year because of the COVID-19 and everything. I think the cap space is being decreased by $20 million this year. Nobody's going to be willing to spend $12 million on an edge rusher that's known to be injured. Steelers are the most likely place. You reunite, get the Watt trio right there, and I don't know. I think he plays last 2 seasons in Pittsburgh at most. Anthony?
You look at this and you think everyone expects J.J. Watt to sign with Pittsburgh. You expect him to sign with all these other teams. But the dark horse team that you don't expect or you haven't heard from, if J.J. Watt signs with the Buffalo Bills. J.J. Watt could land with the Buffalo Bills because they need the defensive end help. And even though you have Ed Oliver, who's the defensive end they took out of Houston, and I feel like if you get J.J. Watt, you build that defense up to be something or bolster it up, and it becomes one step closer to winning that championship. And if you bring J.J. Watt to Buffalo, it can grow your fan base even more to the fan base, even though the fan base is, I would say, crazy and as it is, but J.J. Watt is going to be a key player if he goes to the Buffalo Bills. But that's just a long shot. I agree with that.
You got a point. Signing a huge, big-name player to a team, even if he's not, the best, is definitely going to bring in jersey revenue. It's going to bring popularity to the team. I'm not saying that that's impossible. I'd say that's a likely candidate. I think with Hughes still being on the Bills, I don't see that happening all that well. I mean, they could draft an edge rusher in the draft. We'll go more into the draft later on in the later on in the next couple episodes. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I still think Pittsburgh is the best landing spot, personally. So, with that being said, I think we should go right into probably the biggest item for the week. A couple days ago, the Philadelphia Eagles traded Carson Wentz to the Colts for a third-round pick for this year and a conditional second round next year that could turn into a first depending on other contract errors. So, the biggest thing is this. We did this with the Stafford-Goff trade last week. Who won? Did both teams win? Neither team. Does one kind of edge out from the other? I say both win, but I mean, I could be completely wrong. I just haven't really looked at it. So, Anthony, what do you think? Who won? Who won the trade?
If you look at it, it goes both ways to see who won. I split it 50-50. You see the Colts, they have possibly their franchise quarterback for the next couple of years in Carson Wentz, and you have the key receivers on the Colts and running backs for that team. They could be a quarterback just away from a Super Bowl win. Or, I mean, Carson Wentz, you have Carson Wentz, Marlon Mack, Michael Pittman Jr., and you have T.Y. Hilton. That is a key offense for them to make a good playoff run if Carson Wentz stays healthy. That's the key issue of this year. Is Carson Wentz going to stay healthy? And can he become a good quarterback or a key franchise quarterback for this team? And you're playing with Frank Reich again, because Frank Reich, they used to coach and play together, Frank Reich and Carson Wentz, and they had that connection. But going into the Eagles, you have the second and the third round pick. And if Carson Wentz builds up to his expectation and stays healthy and doesn't get injured, that pick turns into a first round pick. And then I think the Eagles can build their future around these picks and their future picks coming into the draft. So I believe that both teams won this trade.
Fair. Leon?
For me, man, the Eagles won this trade. They got draft picks out of this. They traded a Carson Wentz who was unhappy with the team, and you got hurt starting. The Colts, they're hopeless right now. I still think they even draft a QB in the draft, which is speaking a lot about that trade. So the Eagles won this trade.
Okay. I mean, I think you can argue both sides. Personally, I would say the Eagles won. I'd say the Eagles edged out a little bit more than the Colts, which is kind of counterintuitive. The biggest thing that I don't think that the Eagles won outright is the cap hit. They're still taking on a $33 million cap hit, which does not help their cap space overage right now. That still puts them at, I think they're still at $50 million over, and they still have to cut a lot of players. I know they're going to have to restructure or trade away Ertz, Fletcher Cox. I mean, and also for the Colts, just another thing, T.Y. Hilton is a free agent and hasn't expressed interest in wanting to re-sign with the Colts. I mean, the Colts still have a pretty decent wide receiver core with Pittman Jr., Zach Pascal. They could draft another wide receiver late in the round or sign another one in free agency. I think biggest wide receiver in free agency going into this offseason is Allen Robinson, who could sign with anybody. Open. And then also Juju. Juju has also kind of hinted that he does not want to stay in Pittsburgh. He wants to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I think the Eagles just edged out a little bit more than the Colts. I don't see how Wentz is their guy. He just hasn't proved anything to me. So,
I agree.
Yeah. Anthony, did you have something to say?
I could see Wentz being their guy for a couple years, but maybe this year, because you have Jacoby Brissett as your backup, who's been there for a couple years. Maybe do you see the Colts taking a quarterback in the late rounds of the draft? Because if you have Carson Wentz and you have Jacoby Brissett, I just see Carson Wentz, maybe if he gets hurt, having either a late round quarterback or Jacoby Brissett taking over as quarterback. So you always got to look into depth about this whole trade and build around your future because Carson Wentz, he's been in the league for a couple years now, but I'm agreeing with y'all. I don't think he's done that much and to prove, say, oh, he's a franchise quarterback. But
That's the other thing with what you said about Brissett. Brissett was given a shot after Andrew Luck retired outright randomly, because of injury and other problems.
Yeah.
Brissett is not the answer.
No.
Wentz is not the answer. Wentz is a temporary solution. The Colts, they're a dark horse candidate to go deep into the playoffs. That's something I currently believe. Wentz is not the future. No. He's temporary until they find another solution. I'm willing to say that the Colts draft a quarterback
in the late rounds.
Either that or they trade up for it. Because personally, I don't know any quarterbacks that are known late in the rounds. I mean, all the big names are rumored to go in the top 10. Lawrence, Wilson, Fields,
Trey Lance, Mac Jones.
And then even Mac Jones is now rumored to be going off.
Even Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask out of Florida.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Trask. Yeah, he's another one. He's probably going to go mid-late, or let's say mid-round pick. But I really don't know what Wentz is. I mean, Wentz did well under Frank Reich-led offense in Philly in 2017. And then once Reich went to the Colts, he kind of dipped and just wasn't producing the same. So, I mean, you never know. We'll see over the next year. So I guess we should just start wrapping up this episode. So let's go into our stupid predictions of the week. I'll go with mine first. It's funny because I'm talking all this crap about Carson Wentz. I'm going to go completely against myself. I say Wentz goes off under Frank Reich. I says he balls out. He's going to have a deep playoff run. Going to go well into past the division. I say conference. I say he goes into the conference to lose against most likely either the Chiefs or the Bills, which is kind of, hypocritical of me to say because I also said that Wentz wasn't going to do anything.
Yeah.
Anthony?
My stupid prediction for this week is Quan Alexander re-signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why do I say this? Is because Quan just got cut by the Saints, and he was just with the 49ers that traded him to the Saints, and he got drafted by Tampa Bay. And Quan loved playing in Tampa. It's just Tampa didn't re-sign him because he wanted too much money. But I believe Quan re-signs with Tampa on a 2-year deal for less money to play with Levante David, Devin White, Shaq Barrett, and JPP. And I feel like that defense is going to be good if we re-sign Quan Alexander and if Quan stays healthy. But you never know what's going to happen.
Honestly, I'm going to go completely against that prediction. Like, I'll play neutral during this podcast, and I'll be like, yeah, okay, I see. No, I don't see Quan Alexander. Your linebacker room is already stacked with Barrett, David, Pierre
White.
Paul. And even your backups are not even half bad. And your front seven is probably one of the best in the entire league right now. Maintaining Barrett, you don't need Quan Alexander back. Quan Alexander, he plays what, middle linebacker, interior line?
Middle.
You guys got David. If he stays, then you're golden. But here's the thing.
David's gonna stay.
I don't see him leaving. I don't at all. And if you can re-sign Barrett and if you get Godwin, that's it. You're done with cap.
Barrett, Levante, and that's it. Barrett, Levante, and Godwin are the key free agents we need to re-sign.
And I'm just saying, if you manage to get all three, you have no cap to do anything else unless you restructure some of the bigger guys' deals. Brady's not going to restructure. I doubt Evans is going to restructure. I doubt it. Brady is 40, God knows how many years old. He's old. Guy's an ancient wonder and belongs in a museum, for God's sakes. Anyway, he's not going to restructure. He's done that with the Patriots for years, and he's not going to do it now.
Evans already said that after they won the Super Bowl, he said in the interview, the post-game interview, that him and a couple other of the players will restructure the deals to keep this team together. And some people went out and said they'll take less money to stay with this team.
Here's the thing with restructuring. They'll restructure by like a couple million. And most of the guys that are going to opt to restructure are guys that are on the cheaper deals that are not starters, or if their starters are low-quality starters, they're just going to cut their contracts just so they seem more attractive and the team isn't going to get rid of them. So worst case, yeah, if you say all these people restructure with Evans and some of the other guys, you're going to save maybe I'd say 5 to 6 million in cap. And that'll be just enough to sign back your 3 major free agents in Godwin, which you're most likely going to franchise tag.
Most likely, I 100%.
David and Barrett. And even if you get Barrett, I guarantee he's going to ask for record amounts this year.
Yeah, he already came out and said he wants to break the bank and he wants this big-time contract.
Well, and then we'll see. Worst case, you let him walk, and then maybe you will get Alexander for all we know. But, I mean, Alexander is still a young guy. He's obviously going to be asking for a lot of money. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. We will definitely report that next week, hopefully. So another big thing for our viewers is on Tuesday, the 23rd, franchise tagging begins. That'll be a very big topic that we will go into. There are a lot of names to be franchise tagged, as one is Chris Godwin, with countless other names. We will definitely be going into detail next week. But unless anybody else has anything else to say, I'd say this is it. Leon, Anthony, anything else to add? No?
Thank you for watching our episode.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, hopefully this was.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, hopefully this was a very fun and football-fueled episode for y'all. If y'all liked the video, go ahead and leave a like. I hope you guys watched the first one, and if you didn't, then go watch it. It's pretty entertaining, I'd say so. Just tell us what you guys want us to do. Comment what you suggested.
Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell us in the future episodes.
Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. If you want to bash one of us in the comments, we're willing to hear it. Tell us that we're wrong, bring it on. But until next week, so thank you for watching, and we will definitely see you guys later.
100%.